Los Angeles, California, Beverly Hills, March 1988. Thursday evening, 7 p.m. The gym sits on the third floor of a building that houses entertainment industry professionals. Floor-to-ceiling mirrors line 3 walls. Windows overlook Wilshire Boulevard. Heavy bags hang in one corner. A professional boxing ring occupies the center. This is where people train because they can afford to. Tonight, about 25 to 30 people fill the space for a networking event. Martial artists, fighters, stunt coordinators, producers. The atmosphere is relaxed but performative. Everyone here has a reputation to maintain. They are all here because the gym owner promised them something interesting. A chance to meet Jet Li. Jet Li had arrived in Los Angeles 6 months earlier. In China, famous. 5-time national wushu champion, star of Shaolin Temple. But in America, virtually unknown. Tonight he stands near the windows wearing simple training clothes. Black pants, dark gray t-shirt. 5'6", approximately 145 pounds. Lean, compact, built for speed. His posture relaxed but centered, expression neutral, attentive. Several people have approached him throughout the evening. Polite introductions. Questions about wushu. He answers respectfully, briefly. But there is one person who has not approached Jet Li. Rick Morrison, the Hammer. 31 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds. Professional kickboxing record, 28 wins, 3 losses, PKA light heavyweight division, 17 knockouts. His style is aggressive, direct. Heavy hands, solid fundamentals. Respected in Los Angeles. He has been watching Jet Li for 20 minutes, arms crossed, expression evaluative. He has seen the Kung Fu mystique wave, the Bruce Lee phenomenon, the claims about techniques transcending Western combat. His experience taught him skepticism. In his world, fighting is tested in rings against opponents who hit back. Wushu, from what he has heard, is performance art. Gymnastics with martial aesthetic. One of Rick's training partners leans over. That is Jet Li, the Chinese film star. Rick glances back. Wushu champion, right? They say he is unbeatable. Rick's tone is flat. Informs, not fighting. A kickboxing referee joins in. You should test him. Friendly. Just to see. Rick shakes his head initially. But something about the deference people show Jet Li bothers him. Reputation should be earned through testing. Rick walks across the gym. Conversations pause. Energy shifts. He stops near Jet Li. The size difference is pronounced. They shake hands. Firm, brief. I am Rick Morrison, the Hammer, professional kickboxer. Jet Li nods. I am Jet Li, wushu. Rick smiles slightly. I have heard about you. But I have been wondering. Wushu is about forms, right? Performance. How does it work in a real fight? Against full power? The gym is quieter now. More people are listening. Jet Li's face remains calm. Rick continues. I am not trying to disrespect your art. I am just saying, in my world, we test everything. We fight, we get hit, we learn what works. So I am curious. Can wushu handle that? Jet Li is silent for a moment. Then he speaks, his English careful but clear. Wushu is not just performance. It is combat system, very old system, tested in many situations. Rick's smile widens. Okay, then let me ask you this. Would you be willing to test it? Right here, nothing serious, just a demonstration. You and me. I throw one punch, full power, real speed. You defend however you want. The people watching exchange glances. Jet Li could decline. Instead, he nods once. Okay, but I will add one condition. Rick raises an eyebrow. What condition? Jet Li's voice is quiet but steady. You throw your punch, full power. I will not block. I will not move my feet. I will only move my body. If your punch hits me, you are right. Wushu is just performance. If your punch does not hit me, maybe you reconsider. The gym falls completely silent. What Jet Li is proposing is absurd. He is offering to stand in place, not even block, and let a professional kickboxer with 17 knockouts throw a full-power punch at him. Rick stares at him. "You are not going to move your feet?" Jet Li shakes his head. "No, I will stand. You will hit. We will see." Rick's expression shifts. "All right, one punch, full power. You stand still. Let's do it." The crowd moves immediately. People clear space in the center of the gym, forming a loose circle. Someone turns up the lights. A stunt coordinator pulls out a small video camera. Others watch with focused intensity. Jet Li walks to the center. He stands facing Rick, feet shoulder-width apart, weight evenly distributed. His arms hang relaxed at his sides. His breathing is steady. He looks directly at Rick, not challenging, not afraid, just present. Rick removes his jacket, hands it to his training partner. He rolls his shoulders, shakes out his arms. He has thrown thousands of punches in his career. He is not going to hold back. Rick steps forward, closing the distance until he is about 4 feet from Jet Li. He sets his stance, left foot forward, right foot back. His weight is on his back foot, ready to drive forward. His hands come up into a boxer's guard. This is the position he has used in 28 professional fights. The room waits. Nobody speaks. Rick's eyes lock onto Jet Li's chin. That is his target, a straight right cross, the punch he has used to finish fights. He does not count down. He simply explodes forward. His right hand launches from his chin, his entire body behind it. His back foot pushes off the floor. His hip rotates. His fist travels in a straight line toward Jet Li's jaw, covering the distance in a fraction of a second. The kind of punch that would knock someone unconscious if it connected. But what happens next becomes the subject of debate for everyone who was present that night. Jet Li's feet do not move. His stance remains exactly as it was, but his upper body rotates. Not a dramatic lean, just a precise, minimal rotation from the waist. His torso turns perhaps 15 degrees to his left. His head moves with his torso, but his chin shifts barely 4 inches. Rick's fist passes through the space where Jet Li's jaw was a microsecond earlier, missing by the smallest margin. People in the front swear they saw Rick's knuckles disturb the air next to Jet Li's face, close enough that contact seemed inevitable and yet somehow avoided. But the evasion is only half of what happens. In the same instant, Jet Li's left hand rises. Smooth, efficient. His palm makes contact with the outside of Rick's right wrist, just below the base of his hand. The contact is light, barely pressure. But it is placed at the exact moment when Rick's punch reaches full extension, when his entire body is committed forward. Jet Li's palm does not stop the punch, it redirects it, just enough. Rick's fist continues past Jet Li's head, but now his trajectory is slightly offline. His balance is compromised. His right side is exposed. Jet Li's body continues its rotation, smooth, uninterrupted. His right foot pivots, not lifting, not stepping, just rotating on the ball of his foot, maybe 2 inches of movement. But that rotation allows his hips to complete the motion his torso started. And suddenly, in perhaps 1.5 seconds, Jet Li is no longer directly in front of Rick. He is positioned to Rick's right side, slightly behind his shoulder. The blind side. The angle where an opponent cannot see you without fully turning, where their weapons cannot reach without completely resetting, where every defensive instinct is compromised. Rick feels it before he fully understands it. The sensation of throwing a punch that should have landed and finding nothing. The disorientation of suddenly not knowing exactly where his opponent is. He starts to turn, to reset. But before he can, he realizes Jet Li is already there, positioned perfectly. Rick's entire right side is open, his ribs, his kidney, his jaw from the side. If this were a fight, if Jet Li wanted to strike, Rick would have no defense. No time to block. He would simply be hit. But Jet Li does not strike. He simply stands in that position, his body relaxed, his breathing unchanged. His right hand is raised slightly, positioned at the exact level to strike Rick's temple. But his hand is open. His fingers are relaxed. He is not threatening. He is demonstrating. After 3 full seconds, Jet Li steps back, turns to face Rick normally, and his hands return to his sides. Rick stands frozen for a moment. He just threw his best punch, and it hit nothing. More than that, in the time it took him to throw and miss, his opponent moved into a position where Rick was completely defenseless. Without blocking, without moving his feet, just rotation, timing, precision. Rick's breathing is heavier now. His face is flushed, not with anger, with something closer to confusion, maybe respect. "What did you do?" Rick's voice is quieter than before. Jet Li responds simply, "I moved. You did not move. You stood there." Jet Li shakes his head slightly. "I moved my body. My feet stayed. You asked for that condition. I followed it." Rick processes this. "But how did you know where my punch was going?" Jet Li's answer is patient. "Your body told me. Before your hand moved, your weight shifted, your shoulder prepared, your eyes focused. I did not react to your punch. I reacted to what came before your punch." The crowd is still silent. They are trying to reconcile what they saw with what they understand about fighting. Rick Morrison threw a legitimate punch. Jet Li, standing still, made it irrelevant. Not through blocking, through positioning, through understanding, through reading intent before action manifested. Several martial artists in the crowd recognize what they just witnessed. This is high-level combat intelligence. Rick extends his hand again. Jet Li takes it. This time the handshake lasts longer. "I was wrong. What you do, it is not just performance. I do not know how you saw my punch coming, but you did. And you made me look like I did not know what I was doing." Jet Li's response is respectful. "You know what you are doing. Your technique is very good, very strong. I just trained different way, different focus. You train to hit hard. I train to not be where the hit arrives. Both are valid." Rick shakes his head. "But you did more than evade. You positioned yourself where I could not defend. That is not just defense." Jet Li nods. "In Chinese martial arts, we say the best victory is the one where you do not need to strike. You control the position, control the angle, make your opponent defeat himself." Rick considers this. His entire fighting philosophy has been built on aggression. What Jet Li just demonstrated is the opposite, using the attack as the mechanism for gaining advantage. It is a completely different paradigm. The crowd begins to disperse slowly. Conversations restart, quieter, more thoughtful. The stunt coordinator with the video camera rewinds the tape, watches it again. Even on video, it is difficult to see exactly what happened. Jet Li's movement was too smooth, too small. Several people approach Jet Li, asking questions, wanting to understand the principles. Jet Li answers politely, briefly. He does not offer to teach. He does not promote himself. Rick Morrison spends the rest of the evening quieter than usual. Later, according to people who knew him, he sought out additional training in Wing Chun and other Chinese martial arts, not to replace his kickboxing, but to supplement it, to understand the principles Jet Li demonstrated. He never spoke publicly about that evening, but people in the Los Angeles fight community knew. Word spread. The story was told quietly, in gyms, among people who understood what it meant. Jet Li left the gym that night the same way he arrived, quietly, without fanfare. He did not stay to network. He simply demonstrated what he was asked to demonstrate and moved on. For him, this was not about proving superiority. It was about showing that different systems have different applications. The video footage, according to those who remember, was never widely distributed. The stunt coordinator kept it, showed it to a few people, but it never became public. But approximately 30 people witnessed the event directly. And, for years afterward, whenever discussions arose about the legitimacy of traditional Chinese martial arts, someone who was there would tell the story. The hammer threw his best punch. Jet Li did not block, did not move his feet, and somehow, in less than 2 seconds, made one of the most respected fighters in Los Angeles miss completely and end up in a position where he could not defend himself. March 1988. Beverly Hills. 30 witnesses, 1 punch, 1 rotation, 1 lesson delivered without words, the silent correction.